Happy Friday, September 23rd, 2022. It's Chris and Mark with the NWA Exchange podcast. The only podcast you need to watch to know everything about Bella Vista and beyond. We hope you had a great week. There's a lot of action happening this week in Northwest Arkansas, so let's go ahead and get into this. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, Chris, what's cooking, man?
Another week. Another week of lost sleep, man. Just
I know.
a lot going on in Northwest Arkansas. Man, my week effectively started on Sunday, man, going out and doing some testing for Float Life Fest, which we'll get into a little bit of that later. But
Sure.
and then we did that city council work session on Monday, and then work and getting out and trying to kind of take part in some of the floating activities during the week and stuff. They had like evening float, and then obviously life, soccer, and stuff like that. So it's just another week, man. Just another week on the streets.
It's only 24 hours in a day, man. That's it.
I know.
It seems like you're always chasing your tail. There's always something going on, whether you got work or something with the kids.
Well, work is work, and life is life, and family is very important. And then obviously, the work that we do, curating information for the show and putting stuff together and ensuring the show continually evolves and is able to pivot to whatever the needs of the week are. It's like a second full-time job. So. But whatever.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. I mean, I enjoy it, but you're right. It takes time, and you got to make room for other things too. So,
but nothing good ever comes easy. I mean, people have to remember that. Like, if you want to build something, and if you want to actually like I know I can speak for you and myself. We pour a lot of our heart and soul into what we're doing because we actually believe in it, right? We're not looking for a bailout from, cancel my student loans because I just decided to change my major, right? We're not looking for that type of stuff, brother. We actually care about what we do, and we care about trying to create an informed community of people. And, regardless of what your politics are or what stance you have about this item or this item, we actually try to provide a platform and try to create, some type of dialogue with our viewers. So it is a labor of love, and that means some lost sleep, unfortunately.
Well put, man.
So tell me what's going on in Northwest Arkansas this week, brother.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of stuff going on. Hey, just a friendly reminder, and I know we talked about this before, Reardon Hall is closed, man. It's officially closed. I think it was last week. So it's going to be under renovation for a full year. So not until 2023 in September is it going to be back open. So
wow.
New heating, new cooling, new electrical, everything else is going to be updated. I understand the flooring, the auditorium. They're also going to expand the fitness facility and open up to 24 hours. I know me and you discussed that before. Not sure why they're not doing that at Branchwood or Metfield right now, because we're in a 24/7 world.
They should have pumped the brakes and said, let's get the 24-hour operations up in the other locations. So when people are displaced, they have a place to go. But I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20, maybe. I don't know. Tom, if you're watching this, get off your three-legged stool and go ahead and implement that at these other locations. So when there is an influx of people, they have options.
Yeah, there is starting to be an influx. I go to Metfield and there are some new people showing up, and they did say he was going to bring new equipment over, but I haven't seen anything. So I don't think that ever happened. It's the same equipment.
That intro song, man. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, you know what? I try to get out there every morning, so it's the same equipment, a lot of new people. So I imagine those are people that are coming from Reardon Hall that want a place to.
Yeah, I think they probably should have got that 24-hour system up and operational at the other locations before cutting off the other one.
Totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So, hey, Float Life Festival, one-wheelers. Yeah, man, you're excited. It started yesterday, and it's going to run all the way up to September 25th. Kohler Mountain Bike Preserve in Bentonville. So
absolutely, it's a good time, man. Made it out there a couple times this week. Just a part, I got added to the event organizers group and stuff. We're lending a hand, myself and my buddy Troy, aka Man on the Street in Socks. He's doing some live he's doing interviews with people, recording them and stuff, and kind of piecing together stuff. We did a float on Wednesday night from the splash pad or the ice skating rink in Lawrence Plaza in Bentonville, and we rode through Compton Gardens and then down through the tail or the north end of Crystal Bridges, and then down All American, Slaughter Pen, and back up by the bike park. Got a really fun video of that night that'll be coming out on the show a little bit later.
Awesome.
But dude, it was it's just amazing, man, floating around on these one wheel boards. And I mean, there were some electric unicycles out there. It's kind of the same crew from like Dirt Surfers and stuff, and Amped Electric Games, and just a great community of people, man. And like I don't know, some of the reactions that we got, like were just people walking through like Compton Gardens and Crystal Bridges trails and stuff. They were just blown away by like seeing like 400 or 500 one-wheelers just bob through there, man. Some are on the dirt, some are on the pave, some are bonking off of blocks, man. It was just, I mean, and then like, I mean, like, and there's some riding groups that are taking kids out to learn how to ride bikes on the greenway and the trails and stuff. And so like, I happened to get kind of stuck behind one of these teams of people. I just took it easy, I'm not going to spook a kid or anything like that. And so every kid that I would get next to, I'd be like, hey, I'm coming up on your left. And then the kid would like jerk over in front of me, and I'm like, wow, buddy, it's just like, just stay where you're at, all right? And I can hear this other kid, these one-wheelers are distracting. I'm like, not trying to scare them though, And so I cautiously passed them and stuff. And there were a couple of people that got nailed by one of these kids on a bike, went down. Oh, boy. It happens, but I think all in all it was successful, right? A lot of people, like, I don't think anybody got like seriously injured. I know since people have been showing up, there have been some serious injuries for people practicing out at Kohler and stuff, or riding the underground trail sections. And so I just I want to remind everybody in Northwest Arkansas, we got a couple of events going on that are kind of big events, not uncommon for Northwest Arkansas these days. We have events going on dang near every weekend. But the one wheelers, the what's the other one that's going on? The
Format Festival.
I think there was a ride challenge that was going on as well, and I think there's also a golf thing going on this weekend somewhere in Northwest Arkansas. But just keep your eyes out for people on these PEVs. Be respectful, be a steward of the sport that you love, right? Don't be a negative influence, and be respectful. I mean, because I had a couple of people on the greenway getting obviously they were frustrated after 300 people blew in front of me past them. But I'm trying to be respectful and share the greenway pass or the trail systems. And I got this little weird vibe from a few of these coaches with the mountain biking group, where they're like, I'm going to ride directly on the line and you're going to have to really push to get around me and stuff. These trails are for everybody to use. So don't be I don't know, what's the word?
Respectful.
What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, don't be a Bob. Right? So, just saying.
No, I understand. Hey, I did catch a couple of Troy's videos. They were great. They were,
the man on the street in socks.
Yeah,
man.
he did a good job with it. So you had mentioned the Format Festival, 9/23 to 9/25. That's running. So there'll be some overlap. Music, Art, and Technology Festival. Your favorite coming up. We did the City Council work session Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling into City Council meeting coming up this Monday. We lost 3 hours of our life at the work session, but we can get into that in more detail in a bit.
Dude, my dude, I'm gonna pontificate for a moment. I want to say, like, after hearing everything during that work session for 3 hours, where my wife is like, she sent NWA Exchange a DM because I was getting notifications, so I had to go silent mode, right? But she texts me. It's like, getting kind of late. You okay? I didn't see your text, right? And then so she messaged NWA Exchange. She's like, Chris in jail?
I know. I saw it later.
Lock his butt up.
I know. I wasn't paying attention. I saw it too, and I'm like, oh, geez, I didn't even see it. I wasn't paying attention that she sent it to. But listen, man, she's got to. I mean, we spent 3 hours, and we got.
You've been out for 3 hours. You go now.
We got to whittle down to one proposal, or
it's one and a P is what we're gonna call it, right? One and a possible. We'll just have to see what Monday brings, right?
Oh yeah,
everything I heard is I don't think it's ready, man. I think that glad to see the work sessions happening though, right?
Yeah.
Was a little bit more respectful to some of the other city council members as well this time go around. Like, I still think one person in that conversation is dominating the conversation and being shutting down other opinions, but I didn't see it as bad, this one. But I can tell you, man, everything I heard is this ain't ready to move forward. Not ready to move forward.
Yeah, I don't think too much was done. Mayor Peter Christie removed his proposal completely from it, and looks like Steve Bork is gonna.
He's on the fence. He's on the fence right now.
Yeah, he was thinking about it. He was going to get back to them, and I think it was supposed to be Tuesday. He kind of relinquished his to Doug, which I thought was really odd to me, but. We'll see what happens. Hey, everybody, Monday, 6 p.m.
Monday.
Yeah, should be interesting again. We'll be out there to check out what happens, and I think this one's going to go the distance, man.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to go the distance. I think requiring somebody from the city to come into your home, your domicile, to inspect it.
Yeah. Yeah.
After it's already been, they're not even inspecting new builds properly, bro. So I mean, like, what makes you think that they're going to inspect a VRBO? I mean, let's be real for a minute, So,
they did mention in that work session too, Chris. They talked to community development, and they're going to bring on another person to manage that. And well, you can't.
What they need to do is bring on somebody to make sure they're getting the addresses right on permits before they let somebody build a house. Because now we're in a debacle where one side of the street's going to have one road name and the other side of the street's going to have another road name. Yes, that really took place. You guys should really show up to these meetings. It's almost like a freaking what is it? A tragic comedy sometimes, man.
Yeah.
It's like, because previously to that, the dispatchers, I think Jerry Snow, Councilman Snow, he put in a proposal to give the police dispatchers, rightfully so, a $1,500 stipend, because law enforcement got that, and they are the first point of contact when you call, for emergency services. And they shut that down. I was really kind of overwhelmed with the amount of city councilmen and potential mayoral candidates that basically said, no, we don't need to reward the dispatchers when we're having problems, filling dispatch positions, because it's not fair to, the road department and community development. But then they just come out the gate with the next one, man, where like, we want to rename a road because somebody messed up.
Right. Yeah.
Just can't make this crap up, man.
No.
I don't know. Tragic comedies or whatever, I don't know.
Unbelievable. So, hey, you know what? Me and you have been talking about the last couple of weeks. You said, hey, you have to attend Coffee with a Cop. And Chris, yesterday I did attend Coffee with a Cop.
All right.
I went over there. You know what? It was interesting. The format kind of surprised me. I thought it'd be more, people milling about, talking to each police officer, shaking hands, asking questions. It was more of when I showed up, it was more of a presentation. They had the Chief Graves was there. I think a sheriff of Benton County was there also.
Okay.
And a Village Bible Church, the deacon there was there present and did a prayer, and there was another gal there. But in any event, I guess I met a few of the police officers, and very nice, and asked some questions, and I got a lot of interesting information. But one thing that really blew me away, and Chief Graves was up there, and he was just talking about the crime and what have you, and about the misdemeanors, what's happening now, and I just stopped in my tracks because I wasn't really paying attention.
What's happening with misdemeanors?
I was focused on these glazed donuts, dude. You know what I mean? And I just he said this. They're about the capacity.
Like my sugar tank's getting a little low, man. Wait, what did you say?
I just stopped midstream eating that glazed donut, man, because I said that we're letting these misdemeanor crimes. We're not prosecuting them. What's happening is a deputy sheriff has made us aware of the jail down there is over capacity. There's 800.
Wait. This is a county jail, right? Not city, right? Does the city have a jail? I don't know if we have a jail anymore.
No. But here's what's happening. They're only prosecuting felony arrest, misdemeanor arrest. What Bella Vista used to do was misdemeanors. They'd be arrested. They send them down in the county to get prosecuted or processed. Then they go in front of the judge. So what's happening is they were being processed, right? They were going down. The judge was saying, "Hey, you know what? I understand what you did. We're going to give you 60 days community service, a $15,000 fine, whatever it was." And the guy would shake and say, "Okay, I'll be back. I'll take care of that." Well, guess what? It continued to happen. They had nowhere to go with them. They weren't putting them in jail. They were just letting them go.
Oh my God.
And make matters worse.
Are we Chicago or New York City, man? New York City.
This is what put a pause in while I was eating my donut, man. I'm trying to what is going on here? Did I just miss something? So my understanding is, and I feel horrible. It's because the city police are aware of it too. And Chief Graves came out and said, "Hey, we can only do what we can do." Totally agree with you.
It is what it is. Wait a minute. I thought somebody else was demonized for saying that, right? It is what it is. But okay.
So they're getting these guys off, the streets, right? And so there was a processing charge that the county would charge Bella Vista. Well, seeing that these misdemeanors, they're not gonna bring them to the courts and put them in jail. There's no reason to do it anymore. So basically, they're just letting them off. And when they fail to, they're not going after them. It's a revolving door. And for a minute, it's in California or something, man. So then the deputy sheriff came up and started talking a little bit more about the overflow and how people are sleeping on the floors there. They have 800 plus felons. They're maxed out. And then he was asking for the vote. It was a few years back that they voted for an increase, and
hold on. I think this argument was made when they were asking for a new courthouse, though, right? They were asking for the Taj Mahal of courthouses to be built several years ago, and really, what I think a lot of people are saying is why don't you build the courthouse next to the county jail instead of leaving it downtown, right?
Right.
Because of the transport and everything that was associated with that, and then on top of that, with the money that you would save, you could expand your county jail, right?
Right.
Man, how'd that work out there, Cupcake?
The second thing that blew me away was the county sheriff had mentioned that they need to expand the facility. It's going to cost $250 million, and they're going to have to do
$250 million, eh?
Yeah, eighth of a cent increase.
Who's going to pay for that?
Well, hold on for a second. So then I'm thinking, me and you had this discussion before. The state's got a $1 billion surplus. So I said, wait a minute. How about we access state funds? And he told me, and he was honest with me. He goes, we can't get access to state funds. You have to, the politicians, and he just kind of referred me over to the politicians. We got to get the purse strings to get this loose. And I'm like, so let me get this straight. We have a surplus.
Like,
you want us to pay more money, and I get what he's saying. I totally do.
Yeah.
But what am I going to do about it? I mean, you talk about
they have access to, like, you can't tell me that, like, they don't have, like, after that American Relief Plan, right? All the extra money they had from that, the governor issuing, funding for emergency responders, police, fire, EMS during the whole COVID pandemic. The fact that the state has $1 billion surplus, and, well, I guarantee you, man, tax increases coming around the corner, right?
Well,
but these are taxes that never go away, right? Like, it's the law-abiding citizen, that is on the hook for paying those, man.
Right. And you know what? Hey, listen, I totally understand the city's plight and the county's plight, but don't ask me for another increase when you have $1 billion surplus in place and you can't access the money. That's a hard no for me, man. It's a hard no. It's just,
then on top of it, the amount of fraud, waste, and abuse that's happening in other areas, right? So I don't know. I think really, like, to come to the taxpayer and ask for more. I mean, we're already, Arkansas is pretty freaking highly taxed.
Yeah. Well, that extra eighth cent. I mean,
who even does 1/8 of a cent? Can I pay that in pennies?
You know what? I don't know if it was an eighth or eighth of percent. I don't know, but either way, between the state, the county, and the city tax, we're probably top 5 in the country, maybe in top 3.
Yeah, we're getting up there, man, for sure.
With an increase like that on top of it, we might be number 1 or 2. So I mean, listen, I had a great time. I think what the Bella Vista police doing are great. I respect what they do. I'm just troubled by people.
So this was like really wasn't coffee with a cop. This was a campaign of some sorts.
So after it got over, I went over, introduced myself to a couple of the police officers, had some discussions with them, but it's not how I envisioned it to happen, but maybe that's the way the format is. I don't know. I've never been before. So, but those 2 topics that came up just blew me away. I mean, I know the city police are frustrated by it because basically the guy breaks into your truck, right? He gets done. They arrest him. They don't send him down. They just write him a notice. He doesn't show up for his court case, and they're not going to chase him.
Look, I say coffee with a cop. Look, if a cop wants a coffee, shoot me an email. I'll make you a nice espresso. We can sit and wrap out in the front of my house. I'll bring you coffee out in a nice cup, or you can bring your Yeti tumbler over, man. And I'll make you a nice espresso, and we can actually really rap about, like, the real state of, like, coffee with a cop. But, like, this sounds like a campaign to me to get people, like, to buy approval for a future tax increase request.
Well, you know what would be nice is possibly have him on, or maybe the deputy sheriff, or I don't know if it was the head sheriff or not. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but in any event, it would be nice to have him on, have a little more clarity.
Yeah, I think that maybe we should have our social media or our public relations department reach out to the sheriff department, maybe get some intel from them, and maybe schedule something so we can actually understand the situation a little bit better. I was not there. I didn't get. I did not get a donut. I was probably eating, like, I don't know, probably bad, and drinking coffee with my sugar and cream. I really could have used a donut too.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you went.
Yeah. I could see.
Did you bring the donut holes though, or the donuts? I have to ask.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
They already had the donuts there.
Oh, they had a bunch. They had several dozen there.
Dude,
yeah. Chocolate covered, glazed, you name it.
Coffee. It should be coffee and donuts with a cob. I didn't know they were gonna have donuts. So maybe that would have been a swinging opinion, right? Maybe I will take off a little bit and show up. Need a donut.
You know what? It was a good time. I'm glad I went. Again, the city police are just as frustrated, but like Chief Graves said, he says that we got a job to do.
There's a lot of industries, Mark, that they're all. I think a lot of them understand the complications with the bureaucratic red tape that has to be cut and passed through just to get what they probably is an easy solution, but financially and with all the bureaucratic red tape, it's not an easy solution.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are frustrated like that.
But the person that's doing this stuff time and time again, when he realizes that they're not prosecuting him, they're not doing anything, what's he going to do?
I mean, that would be kind of like, personally, man, like if I chase somebody down a ravine to the back 40, man, to catch them and apprehend them, and you're just turning them out on the streets, I'd be a little ticked myself, man. I'd be like,
right,
dude, why did I just like risk, breaking my neck, falling down a ravine to catch this person, when you're just going to turn them out on the street the next day?
And that's the thing that concerns me, Chris. These things that happen, the break-ins, and they escalate. And what happens to one of these people that they don't reel in? And obviously there's people that have mental issues too, that they don't reel in and put them in jail, and it escalates. He ends up killing someone. Then they find out this is like, hey, you know what?
Oops. Yeah, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, we know this guy. We brought him in 8 times, but the DA didn't prosecute him at all. We had
we see stories like that happening in like
all the time,
man, on mainstream media of all places. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's weird to hear that like our county prosecutors aren't prosecuting people for misdemeanor charges. So it's a little concerning, actually.
I don't know all the details. I just know at this point that there's nowhere to go with them, and are those positions up for election right now? You need to take a look at that. We need to find out about the county judges and county prosecutors and stuff like that. I believe those are elected positions. Well, don't it roll up to like the district attorney, right? And
it should eventually roll up to the attorney general and stuff.
Right.
And so, but I would say like, that's got to stink for. I mean, I have to say, Bella Vista's police department. Every interaction I've had with an officer, it's been a positive exption. So that's got to be a little bit disheartening for our police department to hear that, So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for getting out there and
so I think they
protecting and patrolling and serving your community, and I appreciate that work. And we're talking about it. Maybe something will change.
30. They have 39. I think he said 39
officers.
People, officers on the police force. I believe that's what he said. And they're looking to hire 3 more. And I think there's only 3 taking the test, believe it or not, coming up. So obviously, if they pass, I think they're probably they'll go to the academy and go that direction. But you would think there'd be a larger pool. But I think.
It's not really a glamorous job anymore.
Yeah,
it's really not with the amount of potential confrontations that you got to run into, and then the fact that you could potentially, you get into a situation where you have to use deadly force, and then somebody picks up that news story and just runs you through the mud, man. I don't know.
It's a thankless job.
Man. It is. Yeah. So thank you, Bella Vista Police Department. Thank you to all the officers, everybody on the force over there, dispatchers, everybody, doing your job and doing your job to the best of your ability within the limitations of your scope, and ensuring that we have a beautiful, safe place to live. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well put, Chris. Hey, every week I try to put a budget buster in place, man. Box 10 again. Things are getting tight out there. And still keep on prices continue to climb. Box 10 deals out here, man, running from September 14th to the 20th. Or actually,
I'm gonna have to make it out of this one, man. They got pulled pork.
Maybe 21st, man. 21st to the 27th. I apologize. So whole top sirloins, $3.50 a pound. Whole pork butts, Chris. There's your pulled pork, baby. $1.18 a pound, man. Yeah, 73%.
I'm not transition to that screen. Hold on. Let me transition to that screen.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'm gonna get out there and grab some pork butts. I'm gonna grab a top sirloin too, man. I haven't had a top sirloin in a while. So they got 73% ground beef. Yeah, $1.86. Some split breast, $1.50 a pound. I mean, you can't beat that, man.
Man.
So I would stock those pork butts. Those pork butts are going to be prices are going to keep on escalating.
$1.18 a pound, man. You could eat like a good sized pork butt. was about 12, 13 pounds.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah.
That's a big, that's I said, it's a good one, man. Yeah. That'll feed that'll feed like the family, man. Like you want to have in-laws come over and stuff, and you still got leftovers. I mean, I think that's what I usually do is a 12, 13 pound pork butt. And I'm like, Mark, you want some pulled pork? Come and grab a gallon bag of it. And so like you get a couple of them, man. Yeah, buddy.
It's a lot of food. You can do a lot of stuff with pulled pork. So, hey, the Merrill Forum, keep up. Or just a reminder, Monday, October 3rd, 6 p.m., Lake Point Restaurant. I know we had discussions with them. We reached out to them. They're going to give us press passes. We need to firm up the details, how you want to go about doing that. So excited to get out there and do that. That's on a Monday, October 3rd, 6 p.m. That'll be the Merrill Forum. So we're going to have Steve Bork, John Flynn, and Randy Murray out there. So we'll be able to.
And I think the day after, we're going to be setting up a session with Randy to talk with him. Interview him again and get his, get him to reflect on what he just went through and where he's going from there.
Yeah. So we got a full plate for the next few weeks, man. There's no doubt about that. So
which is good. It's good.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So you want to head to a break and we'll get into it?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and go to a quick break. Bring in our favorite non-sponsor, Nasty's Float Shop, Nasty Rob.
It must be the way I walk. It must be the way I talk. You know I got something to say, and I can keep going for days. Yeah, call me up if you need a little sauce, baby. Follow me if you get a little lost. I'ma put the money in the toll on the road. You gotta pay the cost to be the boss. Boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Never been down on my luck. Boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Never been down on my luck. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah. I got what it takes, got what it takes. I don't want a slice, want the whole cake. Make the money move, that's my forte. Then I'ma take off for the whole day. I'm just weighing all my options. Looking at my watch, hit me back when it's popping. I've been on top cause my stock never dropping. And this is for the ones I've been watching. Boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Never been down on my luck. Boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Come on, boss up. Never been down on my luck to the.
Hydrate, kids.
So, Mark, we got another interview this week. Go ahead and tell me about our guest.
Yeah, I was extremely excited. I talked to Wynn Peterson. He's city council. He's running for city council for Ward 2, Position 2. I'm excited to have him on tonight. So he agreed to come on, and we're getting closer and closer to November 8th. So Let's roll.
All
Bring
right.
him on.
Hi, Wynn. How are you?
Very good. Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Our pleasure having you on. We always like to sit down and talk with anybody running for a political office or any public service office in our community. I got this philosophy that it's easier to get to know somebody by sitting down and talking with them versus, getting those little bullet points during a video they created or whatnot.
Completely agree.
So we've got some questions we want to ask you, but first and foremost, let's ask you, are you a longtime Bella Vista resident? Where are you from? And what brings you into the running for public service?
Yeah, great. Thanks for the opportunity. So I grew up in a fairly small town in Idaho, went away to school, lived in Ohio for about 10 years. I had an MBA at Rice University in business administration, worked for American Airlines for a few years, kind of stayed in the airline industry for about 20 years. What brought me to Northwest Arkansas was an airline job with J.B. Hunt, who was retired at the time from J.B. Hunt Trucking. And he was kind of starting a little airline himself. And I was running a division of a public company that was doing passenger charter out of Columbus, Ohio, and several other cities. And so he bought the division that I was running. And so I became president and CEO of this airline that we based out of here. And we had about 26 airplanes in different cities, had a little over 100 employees. And he passed away shortly after that. I stuck with that for a couple of years and then moved over to retail. And I've been in retail for about 13 years. My wife and I were married in 1986. And we have been here for 16 years and we've loved Bella Vista. We've lived in a few different places, but Bella Vista has been a beautiful place. We've raised kids here. We have 5 kids.
Wow.
13 grandkids now.
Wow, big family.
We've really, really enjoyed Bella Vista.
Awesome.
You've laid down some roots.
Yes. So my youngest just graduated from high school a few years ago. He's still in school. The others are all out and married. He's the only unmarried one. Okay. And they're in New Jersey and Penn State and all different places.
Okay.
But they come back every summer for a reunion, and they insist on always having a reunion here, and they insist on always having it in August, which is not the best. You spend the whole 2 weeks in the lake and in the pool, and but yeah, we have a great time.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about the reason why you're running. I mean, we talked briefly about that, and I know Chris and I are excited that you are running. I mean, we like to have new faces and fresh ideas. So what are your thoughts? I mean, what prompted you to run?
Yeah, so like I said, we really love Bella Vista. I love the weather here. I love the outdoors. We spend a lot of time outside. My wife right now is on a trip to go hike Machu Picchu. I mean, we're very outdoorsy people. Yeah. When we first moved here, we were wakeboarding 3 or 4 nights a week. We love the trails. I'm a big proponent of the trails. I spend a lot of time on my bike on the trails. My wife road rides a fair amount, or used to, but we just feel much safer riding on mountain bike trails, frankly. And so we put a lot of miles on the trails here and in Bentonville and between the 2 cities. We also spend a lot of time just going for walks, hiking. I golf. I'm not a huge golfer, but I've loved seeing the city put in things that promote an outdoor lifestyle. We like to play tennis, but as we've gotten older, I like pickleball a lot more. So I'm really happy with new pickleball courts on the Highlands. So I feel like Bella Vista has always been a special place. I think since it was started, it had a pretty unique vision to it. When we moved here, it was apparent that a lot of the homes were not occupied year round, that there were short-term rentals here, so to speak, and vacation homes. We found a place that we love. We are going to grow. I mean, I think we have the privilege of living in a city where a lot of people that come here to vacation, it's their favorite vacation spot. So when you put together, the beautiful scenery that we have, lakes, trees, weather, and the location, kind of easy to get to for a lot of people, I think we are going to continue to grow. And with that growth comes special challenges. We're a unique city in that we have, we've got the city, we've got the ACC, we've got the POA, we've got Cooper, we've got Walton Family Foundation, who's been, generously dumping some money in good ways, I think. But I think there's a lot to manage in the city and bring all those forces together. I think I have had some leadership positions professionally over the years, and hopefully could lend a hand in helping kind of the council come together on some things and make some decisions and move on some things that we need to move on.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to hear that. I like to hear that. You're willing to work with others and try to facilitate, a path forward. That's a sign of leadership. When you can say, okay, we got some challenges, we need to look at it and sit down and talk. Facilitate.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good segue into our next question, Chris, because a lot of times we've noticed in city council meetings and other meetings that there's the lack of communication and the transparency. And that brings me to the next question. What will you do to improve the transparency and the communication in our local government? What can we do to
yeah,
for residents in comparison, like the city council, the POA, you mentioned the ACC, it seems like there's not one funnel of information flow. It's coming from multiple areas, and not a lot of people are getting that information. So
yeah, and as residents, we're impacted by all those things. I mean, you see people complaining about something sometimes, and I mean, I think at least half the time they're complaining about the wrong organization.
Yes,
is oppressing them. So I think more and more people are beginning to kind of understand that. I think after you attend a few city council meetings, that becomes a little clearer in your mind about who controls what, and whether it's white picket fences or whatever it is. But I think so to be fair, I've talked to a few folks involved in city council, and in the one hand, it may be harder than anybody realizes to get things done on city council because you can't meet outside. You can meet with the mayor individually, but you can't all sit down and talk about stuff like you normally would have, say, a group of friends or in a company where you can have formal meetings, and you can also go to lunch and you can sort of socialize and get things done. So I think we got to cut some slack on that. But I do think that when city council is proposing meetings about discussing issues that we know are fairly hotly debated, that we need to do that in an open forum and allow adequate time. We don't make last minute changes to hold meetings that maybe nobody's going to attend because nobody knows we're having a meeting, kind of thing. I think that we need to honor the whole principle of public dialogue. I mean, elected officials are there on behalf of the people, and the people are who rule. And it's not the government officials. I've never ever thought of running for political office, and don't have really a political bone in my body. But I just felt like I do know how to compromise, and I do know how to stand firm on certain issues. And I think that we can build dialogue across organizations and get to solutions. I do think that we probably ought to create a more robust public platform or place where we can make it easier for people to know what sort of topics are going to be talked about and invite them to come. I was pleased on a few city council meetings I've attended recently about, say, short-term rentals, when the mayor complimented the folks that were attending, that everybody seemed very supportive. The concerns that people who don't want short-term rentals, I mean, those are valid concerns. And the people who have short-term rentals and want to, do more, those are also valid concerns. And I was happy to see the community kind of applauding for people on both sides, where it's like, hey, these are valid concerns. We need to talk about this. But that's the way I think you can come to a solution, is by making sure you understand what those issues are, get around the table, and then, hey, let's work together and come up with a plan of how we'll address it.
Absolutely. Okay. So I think we kind of briefly covered it, but what are your favorite places and activities and areas to spend time in Bella Vista?
Yeah, so that's a hard choice, and I have a long list, so I won't list them all, but I'll just tell you, we live just about a block or two from Huntley Gravity Zone, and that's become a favorite place, both just honestly for walking or for riding bikes. I love how when we ride, say Sunday mornings, it's great to take grandkids or whatever and go to Kohler and just ride a simple bike along the paved trail. Mm-hmm. And if you want to get off-road, you can kind of ride on the off-road stuff and go hit Fireline and meet back at the truck. But I do spend a lot of time on the trails. The lake has been fantastic. I love that we can swim until into October.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that growing up in Idaho. And so taking a paddleboard out in the morning or at sunset is a great way to clear your mind. My wife is one of the crazy people that swims across the lake almost year round. She goes and cuts a hole in the ice and gets in during the winter.
Oh, wow.
But we like the lake a lot. We like the amenities that the city's provided. It's nice to just go hit balls at the driving range. And like I say, I love the new pickleball courts that they built up at on the Highlands. So, Bella Vista, I think it has a reputation as a retirement community, but it is not a sedentary community.
Yeah.
It provides a lot of places to go and play. I mean, Tanyard Creek, we live not very far from Tanyard, and Tanyard's always been a favorite place on Sundays and evenings. And there's a lot of places to go between Bella Vista and Bentonville. And then I'd also like now that you can ride your bike from your house and connect to so many trails that you can go for a 2-mile ride or a 26-mile ride and just have a complete blast and not see that many people. My wife and I hiked 8 miles last weekend, just leaving the house and just walked on trails. And I was trying to count, and I think we saw 7 people.
Yeah.
So, it's there are people out and about, but we got so many miles of trails that it's never congested.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. You're hard pressed to find, to find boredom in Bella Vista unless you're really looking for it.
Right. People don't come to short-term rentals and hang out in the short-term rentals,
right?
Using the bathroom. They're out playing most of the time.
All right. Hey, Chris, I'm going to put it in reverse for a little bit, but
okay.
I like this question a lot, and I've asked a lot of counselors, the city council, people that are running for is, if you had received a $1 million grant to use the city, what would you use it for and why?
Okay. Well, I'd first listen to what I would hear what people want and need.
Okay.
I know there are when we first moved to Bella Vista, Cox wasn't out here, and we had HughesNet satellite, and man, that was a pain. I know there are places that it's still difficult for internet, so that's a choice. I think one of the things that we have in the city now is this fabulous network of mountain bike trails, but still, to get from place to place on all those trails, you have to get on the road for a while or ride on the side of the road. So it'd be nice if we had some sort of bike paths, 6-foot sort of easement along the side of the road just for bikes. So you're not worried about getting brushed off the road as you connect along Chelsea or out in the Highlands, those kinds of things to provide for connections. Before they built the pickleball courts in the Highlands, the ones at Medfield were super, super busy with more and more people coming to play. So selfishly, I would say infrastructure around getting about the city better. And that probably would involve bike lanes that allow us to go via road, even just on a road bike, to go ride around the Highlands. My wife and I, when she was training for a triathlon years ago, would go ride Glasgow. And it's a great place to ride, but it's also just not safe really for 2 people to go riding their bikes. When you have a pack of people and you're riding, I feel safe, but when there's just 2 people riding, it'd be great if we could put a 6-foot, path around that, for example, and have this awesome bike trail to ride.
Okay.
I agree. Safety is getting from point A to point B. I'm fortunate enough. I'm over kind of by Metfield, so they have that Greenway connector.
Yes,
and something like that. I was in favor of that, because trying to get like on a bike or me one wheel down to Lake Bella Vista, it was before that was in, it was you basically were driving and putting the bikes on a rack.
Right.
Got a small kid, you don't want to take them on the road, and it's just not fun to do it that way. So some type of Greenway connector, I think. I'm a fan of them expanding that further.
Yeah.
So next question we have for you is What do you feel should be a priority for the city of Bella Vista? The development of attractions, tourism, and growth, or preservation of the community we live in? Are we growing too rapidly, or should we be, to me, I feel like we're really focused on tourism and growth versus actually like preservation of what we all love about Bella Vista.
Yeah. So I think for us, when we moved here, I remember leaving work, coming home, going down, hopping in the boat, going out and wakeboarding on the lake, and you think, what's going on here? This is beautiful lake. It's a gorgeous day, and there's no wind, and the water's glass, and there's nobody here. So I think anytime you move to a place like this and you're new, for the first several years, you're like, okay, this is really cool, but I don't want to tell anybody about it because I want it to stay exactly like this. And because it's just awesome. Like you feel like you live in a state park, and like who doesn't love that?
Yeah, I think we feel the same way. Yeah.
But the reality is, when you live in a place like that, like we're gonna grow. I mean, I kind of feel like we're the next kind of Boulder, Colorado, or something. I mean, we're gonna grow. We're gonna attract people. We've seen it this past couple of years with all the building that's gone on. Now we went for a decade or so when we moved here, where there really wasn't hardly any building going on. And the economy kind of slumped a little bit, and we didn't see much. But we certainly want to preserve Bella Vista for all the good things that it is. I mean, I loved raising my kids here. I feel like it was an idyllic place to grow up. With the woods close by and just the natural beauty around, we have to preserve that. Sometimes we'll go vacation, say in Florida or North Carolina along the shore, and I see these condos, and I just think, oh man, I would hate to see something like that. But Bella Vista was built originally as a vacation place, so I don't think we need to spend a lot of money and time promoting Bella Vista. Bella Vista is going to promote itself. I do think we need to be mindful about how we grow, how we zone, what we allow in, so that we can manage that growth. But I don't think we can stop people from coming from Texas or Illinois or Kentucky or wherever. I mean, I bumped into people all the time on the trails. And I mean, I bumped into this couple when we were walking last week, a man and woman who had come out with really nice mountain bikes from Colorado. I mean, people are coming from Colorado to mountain bike in Northwest Arkansas. Yep. It's awesome. And I think that's good. And I love sharing the trails with people like that. But Bella Vista is going to promote itself, I think, just fine. I know, opinions are split about the Walton Family Foundation and the money spent. I'm grateful that they've spent millions of dollars developing trails for a hobby that I love. I've joked with friends that are here saying it's great when you live in a place with billionaires who have the same hobby as you, because they're generous and they build these trails and you get to enjoy them and feel like you're in Disneyland.
That's true.
But we have to be careful, I think, about how the density of what we allow to come in.
Okay, good answer.
So, question for you. I know you had mentioned briefly about the short-term rentals. Just want to know what your stance was on it. I know there's been a lot of back and forth. They want to cap it at 600. How do you feel about it? I know there were several people that had some complaints of short-term rentals being near their house and a lot of disruption. What are your thoughts on it? What are your ideas there with that?
Yeah. So full disclosure, we bought a house last year that we use it's used as a house for our kids when they come and visit. So right. It's not rented all the time because they're just living there for fun. And we have rented it out too, some on Airbnb and that. I think the Airbnb platform is great. My wife and I have been using either VRBO or Airbnb when we travel for literally a few decades. We haven't stayed in a hotel for a long, long time. And we like renting a house in a neighborhood, whether it's here or in Europe or whatever, because I think you get the feel for the place much better. But I went and had a chat at the police station to talk about, because I think those concerns are real. If I live next to a place, and there's an Airbnb right across the lake from us, and it gets noisy sometimes, but we already have laws on the books that handle noise.
Yeah.
We already have laws on the book that handle parking on the street. We have laws about drunkenness, being loud, being vulgar, being rude, all those kinds of things. Like, we already have that. If you have a really crummy neighbor that's that way, then you have it all the time. Unfortunately, some people have had to deal with short-term rental people. In our rental, we have on the right in our book, it says, listen, we live in this neighborhood and our neighbors live in this neighborhood and we like our neighbors and we don't allow parties. If there are if it gets noisy, my neighbors will call me and I'll be over here. And we make it very clear, this is a neighborhood and it's meant to be quiet and you can enjoy nature, but it's not a party town. So I talked with the police just about the kind of level of calls, and the results I got was we have 31,000 people here. Over the past 18 months, they've averaged about 10 calls a month for noise, 4 calls a month for somebody parking on the street, 2 calls a month for somebody being drunk or disorderly, and 3 calls per month about somebody trespassing, coming on my property kind of thing. So to me, I think in the moment where something's happening, that's can be very emotional, and people don't like that, and I understand that. But it's not really a rampant problem, and I think the laws we have can handle those problems. I think as a government official, oftentimes you feel like, well, I want to be responsive to my citizens, and so we need some more ordinances or new laws on the books. And I'm not for that. I love Bella Vista, but I don't love big government. And I think we ought to use the laws we have in place that have been in place since Bella Vista started,
Right.
To handle those kinds of problems. I don't think it's right to regulate, say, for example, a short-term rental or require certain things around how the property is used or anything that we don't handle for our own homes. I mean, when we have a reunion here, like in this house here, we've had like 20 people. Now that's only for a very short time, but I don't want to say, well, if you have a house that only has 4 bathrooms, you can only have this many people, because residents are like that all the time when they have reunions.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to distinguish between them. If I can, I'll just mention one more thing. In talking with the law enforcement folks about it, they did say, it would be nice when we get a call about somebody being drunk or disorderly or whatever, if we knew, okay, hey, we're going to a short-term rental. So I think it would be reasonable to allow the police to have sort of a list of where people may not be, long-term residents. There's no reason to go tow a resident's car because their daughter's in from New Jersey because it's parked on the street.
Right.
But if they're short-term rentals and everybody's doing it and it's consistent, and you have a sign that says no parking overnight, and they're still doing that, then well, maybe a few cars get towed, and then we don't have the problem of people parking on the streets as much.
Yeah, Chris and I were in the work session, and it's funny that you mentioned that because they're looking to classify those. The police are, where they have a list in their database that shows specifically who has short-term rentals. So
if they get called to the address, it pops up in their, I think you call it their CAD system, where it basically notifies them that the address that we're being dispatched to is a short.
Yeah. But I guess the whole thing about permits and fees to do that and all those things, I just
it's overreach, right? That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
I think a property owner should have quiet enjoyment of their property. And when and again, it's not being I think the people wanting to do more are doing that in good faith, like, hey, let's solve this problem. But generally when the government steps in to solve a problem, it doesn't help. I mean, the platform of Airbnb and VRBO do a very good job of regulating that, because you get a crummy review either as a homeowner or as a resident or as a renter. You don't want that. You fall down several rungs very quickly if you get a bad review.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree with the over-regulating. I mean, I think it comes from a place of good, right? Like they feel like they're helping a resident, but like really, like the old saying, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." I mean, that one's right there. Like, just sometimes pump the brakes, take a step back, and say, "Can this organically fix itself?" Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And do we have things already in place that if we just enforce them or started being more overt about that, it would fix itself?
Right.
So we'll go to what are your thoughts on commercial development, commercial real estate development, and locations in Bella Vista, and how does the city work to promote commercial growth in this unique environment we live in?
Yeah, great question. And some lots that have remained vacant for a long time have just really surprised me, because I can think of so many businesses that would thrive in that location. I mean, right here off, we take exit 98, coming home, and that vacant lot, I just think, wow, that's amazing. That thing still sits there empty. I don't think it makes sense to have a bunch of big hotels or that kind of thing here. And I don't think just the character Bella Vista really lends itself to that. But frankly, I think it would be great to have a few more restaurants and places to eat, different character. I mean, we've tried that new burger place up
B-list burgers.
B-list, yeah.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But we have a fairly limited choice in terms of like restaurants to go out with friends and go do things. We end up going to Bentonville more often just because you have so much more choice. So those kinds of things I think would be helpful. I think having a small grocery store here and there would be helpful in some places of the city. I know, there's a ton of growth going on in the Highlands, a lot of building going on. A neighborhood market or a Harps or something like that out there, I think would be helpful. But yeah, I think the city as a bedroom community, primarily in the years past, could do better with some more tax dollars coming in through some more commercial development to encourage things. I mean, the whole dermatology building and stuff, for example, that went up there is, I think, the good kind of growth we'd like to see, where that's a great spot. It's convenient for a lot of people and brings in some more tax dollars.
Okay. How do you plan to engage and involve residents in the decision-making process? I guess we've seen it, and we've seen the participation rates, and people feel like their voice isn't heard. They're frustrated. They feel like, hey, you know what? Why should we participate in the process? Nobody's listening to us. It's whatever we're saying is falling on deaf ears. I kind of feel like that going to these city council meetings, and yeah, I get my 3 minutes, but if I go over that, Wynn, I'm out of luck. They give me the nod, and next, it's like I'm at the fast food restaurant. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, what else can we do to engage these people? Because I'll be quite honest with you, me and Chris talked about this. Under probably 40, very few people are participating. I know some of it had to do with times that they were having these meetings and what have you, but young people I talk to just say, why should I waste my time? They don't care what I think. And it's disheartening to me, because that's what separates us from a communist regime, you know?
We agree. Yeah, you have. I've attended city council meetings here and other places where sometimes you go and you realize, wait a minute, I think they've actually already made the decision. This public hearing we're having is just sort of to check a box, but the decision's already made. It's clear, and that's a pretty self-defeating feeling. Yeah. When the people are making their voices heard, but they're not being heard. So I will tell you, I am a total Luddite when it comes to like social media and that. I have a Facebook account, but I don't really post stuff and that kind of thing. So I'm not skilled at doing that. But I do think we as a city ought to have a better public forum where people can weigh in. When we have city council meetings, I've seen people stand up, and you see the reaction from the people in attendance. And you want to sort of stand up and shake somebody and say, do you see what's happening? The reason why people are applauding is because this is the way we feel. And yet you're kind of moving this policy in this other direction. Like, listen to what's going on here. So I'm sorry, I don't have an exact answer for that, but I recognize it is a problem. And we need a better way for people to make their voices heard, have them heard, and have council members listen to those concerns and then say, okay, now we need to make a decision. So how are we going to move forward this for the best of kind of the overall plan of where we want the city to go?
Okay. Awesome. I agree 100% right there with that one. We've been to several, throughout the years, and there's got to be a better way. There has to be a better way to receive that feedback from your constituents. And then, okay, maybe we got this totally wrong and we need to go back to a work session,
Right.
I mean, not just keep pushing the ball up the hill, but I appreciate you being honest about that. And if you don't have an answer, that's where a brainstorming session comes up.
Yeah.
And you come up with a good answer. So.
And like you said, Chris, when I go to these meetings, there are not that many young people there. And what new ideas can we bring in here have better public discourse and public dialogue about this, so that we can get to a solution that is going to work for all of us.
All right. So, recap your stance and the reason why people should vote for you, Wynn. And then also, how do people get in touch with you and follow? Do you have a social media campaign? Do you have a website, or are you just door knocking?
Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, I've never had a passion for politics, and I've never thought of myself as running for office. But as I met with friends and talked about things going on in Bella Vista, I thought it would be disingenuous of me to complain about things, but not try to do and go and serve. So I'm running honestly just to try to do some service to Bella Vista, bring some leadership and my experience in bringing parties together and reaching agreement on things to the city council. I have a lot of years of business experience in a few different industries, and I think I could be a fresh voice on the city council. I'm a person who actually gets out and uses a lot of the things that Bella Vista provides. We are very active, and so I'm plugged in with folks who are out and about in Bella Vista and enjoying the things we provide. And so I think I could represent those interests well. My website is called Wynn. It's Peterson for BellaVista.com, and the 4 is a number 4, and that goes live tomorrow. And yeah, we'll just be out knocking doors, letting people know kind of what we stand for. I have some things on the website that people can kind of read about and get in touch with me just through my regular email. I'll put my cell phone on there, and I'll put my regular email on there, and I would love to hear from people on what they want to see from a city council person.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, we wish you best of luck. And I mean, you're already doing more than most, right? You're actually throwing your name in the hat versus sitting back and complaining, right?
Yeah,
it's always good. I personally feel it's always good to see fresh faces, and obviously a race where there's more than one person running. The unopposed is kind of like, well, you're a human. So I was getting a little worried there during that filing time, and I was checking it, and I'm like, we got several that are running unopposed, and but everybody.
I do have a pulse. I'm qualified.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate your time, Wynn. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I was. We look forward to seeing the results of this, and wish you the best of luck. And we appreciate all the time that you've given us tonight.
Great. Thanks, everyone, for having me on. I appreciate the platform, and thank you for what you're doing to create more dialogue.
Awesome.
All right, Wynn. Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's your name? Where you from? The French have invaded.
Portugal.
Portugal, yes.
AOC, Austin, Texas.
Keep it weird.
Yeah,
Where you from? Where you from?
Yeah.
So Trump was sued by the state of New York, over fraudulent asset valuations. I'm just gonna have to play this video because if you haven't caught it, I think some people have caught it. It's on most mainstream news, but there's like several points in this video where you're like, "What? Wait, hold up, wait a minute, back it up, reverse." You know, the whole 9 yards, right? What did you just say there, Willis?
The law as part of his efforts to generate profits for himself, his family, his company. The complaint demonstrates that Donald Trump falsely inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself and to cheat the system, thereby cheating all of us. He did this with the help of the other defendants, his children, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump, and former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg and Trump Organization Controller Jeffrey McConney. Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization repeatedly and persistently manipulated the value of assets to induce banks to lend money to the Trump Organization on more favorable terms than would otherwise have been available to the company.
I don't even know where to go with that. I guess my question is,
I want to take a moment, man. Mark, I've got a 1976 Yugo with rusted floorboards, no exhaust. It leaks, a quart of oil a day. The seats are busted. The lights don't work. And I'm going to go ask for $1 million loan on it from the bank. I'm just going to tell them it's stellar, right? Doesn't that responsibility fall on the lender to verify, check, and trust, but verify? Check, verify before you make... I mean, like... I'm just appalled by, like, this. This is just another tactic. All I got to say, man, is wait and see, right? Everything it's just it's a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger.
The thing that troubles me, she didn't even say alleged. She basically said that
she said he did.
I mean, you're guilty before you're proven innocent. I mean, it's craziness. Yeah. I mean,
well, and the fact that, like, okay, what she's describing and the way that they've done this media press, right, would make one assume that he's, being criminally indicted.
Right.
But it's a civil case. It tells me you had nothing to file a criminal charge on, so you're just hoping that this sticks.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Or creates discovery opportunities. This is targeted. This is just, like, in my personal opinion, I think that this is just, what we've been seeing for at least 6-7 years now.
It's not even the fact that it's Trump. What scares me is this attacking groups of people. That's what's scary to me, man. Yeah. That's what I mean. You throw him in the indictment, then you throw all his kids. I think he missed Barron, by the way. Why don't you throw him in there too? Even though it's like 13 or something like that.
Like, this just I don't know. Like I said, this is a nothing burger. Just like this is just all to get. I mean, we're in. There's an election cycle coming up, brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, this is what they do. It's just. I don't know. The best coined phrase I've ever heard in my lifetime is fake news, right? Maybe this is fake news. I don't know. But given the track record of this type of crap happening for the past 6 years now, I'm gonna go ahead and say, wait and see, fellas.
Yeah.
It'll all come out in the wash.
Yeah.
Moving along, y'all mule, because we went a little long.
Yep. So the Bentonville School Board meeting, and we talked about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I remember talking about the Bentonville School Board. We're talking about material that kids were being exposed to in the libraries, right? Yeah. And now I watched this video, man. It was sad, dude. I was.
Yeah, this as a parent of a young child that rides a bus, it was a pause for concern, right? It's like, what that like. And the the way that they're kind of going about this, and like I've read some of the news articles where they've responded that they were doing an internal investigation to figure out how this happened because we have procedures in place that are supposed to prevent this, blah, blah, blah. Look, you can have all the stuff on the books in place. You can have a citywide emergency policy in place, but if you don't actually enforce it and enact it and periodically review and check compliance, right? It doesn't mean a hill of beans. It doesn't. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, let's cut over to that real quick because this one really like rubbed me. It touched my heartstrings, and we're just gonna play a short clip of this, the video footage of the parent whose child was left on the bus for several hours. And
so before you start that, I'm trying to wrap my head around this whole thing because if, as a bus driver you have multiple stops, right? Your last stop, okay? Billy or Mike or Sally.
In defense of that, though, I will go ahead and throw this in defense out of this. This was a sub bus driver.
Okay.
So somebody not 100% familiar with the route. But regardless of the route that you drove, right, you delivered children to school. This was not I'm dropping kids off and I let them get off at the wrong bus stop. No, this is a delivering children to school and then parking the bus and not checking the bus for a body on the bus.
It's craziness. Let it roll, man.
It's a rolling. So this is right around the 3-minute mark, I think. Find it. Because I think I rolled back thinking that.
I just felt for his mom when she was talking. It was just horrible. Luckily, the kid didn't die from heat, from the heat.
Yeah, it was hot this week.
In the district together for 31.
There you go. I
believe you're to celebrate today.
You're celebrating.
Comments to put this section at the.
Charlie was.
This is the parent right here. It's
Charlie.
Yep. All right. 550.
First name right, Miss Carpenter.
Get this down or anything?
Yes, you can pull that down.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Carpenter. Yesterday morning, our 5-year-old child, Charles Carpenter, Charlie, boarded the bus at 6:15 a.m. as he has since the start of the school year. He had a substitute driver and she checked him in on the bus as he boarded. We knew ahead of time that there would be a sub this week and nothing appeared out of the ordinary. Just after 11 a.m., I received a startling call from the Bentonville School District Transportation Office that Charlie was just found on the bus. I was told he was okay and inside drinking some water and eating a Lunchable, and could I come pick him up? After having to repeatedly ask for an address, I left right away to meet my child. At the time of day and level of heat outside had not fully hit me. It took me about 30 minutes to arrive as we live a good distance away from the transportation yard. I was just simply focused on getting to him. Charlie was left on the bus in the hot sun for hours. Charlie knew they were supposed to go to one school for drop-offs, then his, but says the stop at his school didn't happen. He waited in his seat, quietly behaving as we have taught him to do, while the adult on the bus was negligent and left him alone. Charlie didn't know where he was or why the bus driver just left. He thought she would be back any minute to take him to his school. He was scared and cried out for his mom and dad and his dog. 4 times he cried. 4 times. He said that many times yesterday. No one heard his cries. Charlie didn't even realize he was in trouble. He didn't have a lunch as he was planning to eat at school yesterday. He had minimal water. He peed all over himself. He sat there quietly sweating and waiting for the adult that we told him would keep him safe, that never came back. Thankfully for Charlie, a maintenance man happened to walk on the bus and saw him hours after he was left there. Charlie was drenched from head to toe, very thirsty, red and hot in appearance, covered in urine. Despite being instructed to call 911 multiple times, 911 was never called. Given Charlie's physical condition, 911 should have been called before any other calls were made. Instead, the superintendent was called over and a nurse who had to find her own transportation to get there. Medical attention was delayed. We are grateful for the local news stations that wanted to make this issue known. We've already had several parents reach out to us to let us know that they've had the same or similar incidents happen with their children in this district. This apparently wasn't the first time. So, given that this is a repeat practice to leave children unattended on hot buses, it is my worry that Charlie's traumatizing event yesterday will not be the last. There will be more children hurt, and does somebody else's children need to die in order for you guys to take it serious? I encourage all the parents who claim to have had their children be in this situation to also please hotline it, call the police, report it to the board at these meetings, make it public, scream out loud, fight for your child. It has to be documented for anything to change. This was preventable.
100% preventable. 100% preventable, man. And you know, I don't know, Charlie, I think is his name, and you know, the fact that they didn't, like, they just like, oh, well, you know, we'll give him some water and we'll call the parents, and like, no, dude, like, you leave your kid in the car, man. Like,
well, it's probably 110, 120 degrees in there for that long.
Yeah, you leave your kid in the car, and
he's lucky he didn't die. I mean, it's really a.
I mean, if you leave your kid in the car for 2 minutes when you walk into the gas station, right?
Right.
You can get in trouble, man. So why is it acceptable for the school to do that? And why is it acceptable for the school to say, well, we'll delay medical care after we found this situation and call the parent, right?
Right.
That's all the makings of a cover-up. I don't believe that anybody that's sitting up here right now should be beyond reproach at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, there needs to be an active investigation, and they all need to be held accountable for ensuring that investigation yields results that will not allow this to happen again.
I can't even begin to imagine, Chris, what he felt being on that bus by himself, locked in there, and for hours, man, and nobody coming. I can't. I mean, the scars. I mean, it's just the psychological.
I don't know. I mean, I was a kid at once, man. You know, and like, you forget a lot of crap from your past, man. I don't think I honestly don't think having the kid relive it through court proceedings and stuff like that is mentally beneficial to the kid, though.
Right. I agree.
It's like, yep. But I think that there needs to be accountability to ensure that the protocols are in place, the proper training. The person who decided not to call 911. I mean, these people have a duty to report. They're all school, they're all interact with children. They have a duty to report, but they won't report themselves if they think they could potentially get in trouble with criminal charges.
Right.
Interesting, right? They'll report the parent, but they won't report themselves.
Right. And she had mentioned this isn't the first time this has happened. So it sounds like this is just continually happens over and over. So yeah, it definitely has to be investigated.
It's something concerning as a parent with a child that goes to the school district and rides the bus sometimes. It's concerning. There are a lot of parents who are rightfully concerned, and this school board needs to get off their butts and really do right by the parents at this point and instill trust back into them.
Right.
Find a way to get the parents to trust you. I don't know if I would be willing to trust them.
Yeah. After that, I don't believe I could ever bring them back into the school system, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yep.
It's just, you can't take it. I mean, he could have
proper vetting process of your substitute bus driver, stuff like that. I mean, like, there, you have to make sure you get one shot, man. You only get one shot to get it right. You get it right. Okay. Like, this could have, thankfully it didn't end the way that it could have.
Right.
And Charlie's a little dehydrated. He peed on himself, scared. I think that this is an opportunity for them to do right by the parents. And
yeah, I agree.
There's been a lot of trust lost with institutions over the past few years because they've just consistently got it wrong or toted a narrative. This is a point where you guys, it's poop or get off the pot time at this point. Poop or get off the pot, get it right.
Right. So keeping with the school theme, Chris.
Okay.
Brad Taylor came out. I think it was Gab. He was on Gab and was talking about how he was treated in school, and I was kind of blown away listening to it. He's a younger kid, and he really did a great job.
It
And
was Facebook.
yeah, it was a Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, and came out and explained to him how he was treated at school, and I was just appalled.
I think
by
this person posted the video, gab.com.
Okay, yeah, right.
Anybody who doesn't know what Gab is, I don't know. Some of the media sources call it a right-wing social media platform. I just would call it a platform that, I don't know, shares news that doesn't make it into the mainstream. I don't know.
Right.
We know censorship is a real thing, though. We do know that. So, you know, that being said, I'm going to play this RHS School District Brad Taylor resignation speech over critical race theory, District 196.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. Hi, my name is Brad Taylor, and I just finished my freshman year at RHS. I've been a part of District 196 schools now for 10 years, and I'm going to give you a glimpse today of what's actually going on inside these schools. Despite the board's attempt to deny it, District 196 schools are quickly becoming a place where promoting activism is actually more important than promoting education. I'll take you back to my first day at RHS this fall. The principal came out and gave us a heartfelt speech about equality and standing together. He began to list countless races, such as Latino, Asian, expressing how much they matter and how important they are. But never once did he mention a race or identity that reflects me, or half the kids that were in the class. Now, members of the board, I know you haven't been to school in a while, and I know none of you, or most of you, don't have any kids left in the school district. But you must admit how uncomfortable it will be to be characterized just by your skin color on the first day of school, and be thought that you were wrong just because of your skin color. So I will never forget the look one of my friends gave me from across the room as we were sitting there listening to this blatant bias being expressed in the so-called equity statement by the leader of our school. To be clear, I don't need you to tell me that I matter, but hearing the condolences given to other races and leaving just one race out, it inevitably you'll start to feel like you've done something wrong. And in our principal's attempt to unify us, he instead created unwarranted boundaries and barriers between his students, hitting us against each other based on characteristics that we can't control. In another separate instance, I was told that writing "All Lives Matter" on the whiteboard was political and could be seen as offensive. When I questioned the teacher after class, she told me that she didn't have an answer and she just had to erase it, and it was quickly erased. There are political signs all over RHS, about specific races that matter, specific sexual orientations that matter, and specific perspectives that matter. But when I questioned the RHS administration about how these signs were political, they told me that they were supporting human rights. So when I questioned why the equity statement couldn't represent all students, they told me that to even ask that question was outlandish and offensive. And when I asked why that was, they told me, quote, "Whites have a pretty good situation right now," unquote. So is that not racism? Disregarding my question merely because of the color of my skin? To be honest, after enduring a year of the people in charge telling me that I'm a racist and I'm privileged and pointing out our irreversible differences, I've never noticed race more. And it's becoming the first thing I notice when I meet someone, which has never before been the case. RHS administration confidently told me that RHS students and staff are happy with their equity statement. But from my experience in talking with other students, this is not the case. I know many kids who disagree with their teachers, but they're too scared to stand up because they're worried that their grades will be docked and their learning experience will be affected. My honors government teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but he's mentioned that...
I'm not going to go through all this because I'm just going to get upset, and we're pressing for time. Listening to this though, I'm not shocked, right? And you know, the kid's making a valid point, man. You enter into high school where you're all supposed to be young adults, and you're hearing these statements, and you're not allowed to question those statements. You're just told basically you have something that you can't change, and you shouldn't be complaining, right? Flip the script, man. Flip the script. If this was not, this kid, if this was another kid, how would that work? How would that work?
Yeah. I mean, it's just blatant discrimination.
This is what they're doing. This is what these ideological values are doing to the youth of our nation. Right?
Yeah.
You're actually like you say it's diversity and inclusion and stuff like that. I mean, I can remember when I was young, running into a situation because of my skin color, in a predominantly different demographic. I was called names, and I asked my father about that name. What does that mean? And he basically said, well, some people have views about people's skin color versus other people's skin color. It's not right. You're not going to be able to really change much about that. People are raised a certain way. But what you can do is you can ignore that, and you can do better. You can befriend that person. You can show them that you're not the stereotypical white guy or black guy or Asian guy or whatever, right? You have to rise above that on your own accord. And for for what the institutions are doing, they should be offering that same advice to all of the youth of our nation. But what they're not doing that. This is an indoctrination platform to basically, my opinion, weaken our society as a whole, weaken our future generations. That's my opinion, man. I think at the end of the day, these kids are suffering the consequences of probably administrators and stuff that do have some personal guilt, and that's why they're so behind this.
Right.
But the majority of people aren't racist. The majority of people are not racist. Majority of people would be willing to give you the shirt off your back, or off their back to help anybody in need. And
I totally agree with you.
You're painting a picture of society that just, I don't know, in my opinion, is not there. It's a political statement.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lawsuit, and he's going to win it. There's no doubt about that. So, hey, great show tonight, Chris.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Can't wait, man. I'm ready for next week. I'm ready to get rock and rolling. We're going to hit it Monday. So I guess we'll be out at Monday, 6 p.m., buddy. We'll be back out at
City Council.
Courthouse. Yeah, City Council meeting, 6 p.m.
So, like I said, Float Life Fest. If you guys just want to check it out, I mean, like Saturday, and I think they're doing racing on Sunday as well. Kohler Mountain Bike Preserve, Thunderdome. It's going to be a good show, man. These guys bombing down that hill on a one wheel. That last jump at the bottom of Thunderdome is a doozy. There's a metal grate. It's a pretty steep pitch, and get out there and watch some of that. Find a love for the sport. Till then, we'll catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Stay happy, healthy, humble. Call your mama, call your father, call somebody and tell them you love them. Check in on your neighbors. Be good to one another.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Take my walk this road together through the storm, whatever way.